I'm Linda Fox. I'm in the Phocuswire studio, and I'm with Jesus Monzo Faubel with Pkfare. I hope I pronounced that correctly, or almost correctly.
Almost.
And Jeremy Jameson, Mystifly. Welcome. Thanks for joining us in the Phocuswire studio.
Thanks so much, Linda.
So let's talk about the state of play with NDC. What for you, start with you, Jeremy, what for you has been the kind of greatest development in the past kind of 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think the most exciting thing is to see servicing and kind of the post-ticketing functionalities really prove themselves and drive operational efficiencies within the travel agencies that are using direct connects and being quite successful with it. We also are seeing the data being brought together to be able to move towards that evolution of offer and order. And so I think it's all coming together. Obviously, I would say it varies from airline to airline.
Of course.
Varies from agency to agency. But I think we've shown that the schema works. It's fit for purpose, and now it's full speed ahead.
So in terms of ramping up, are you confident that it's going to happen quite quickly in the coming years, Jesus?
Yeah, I think that the growing adoption of NDC is just undeniable, but we're seeing two different paces in the adoption. So on one side we have the airlines, specifically mostly Europe and the US, that are leading the way towards the adoption, and not only deploying the technology but also implementing some sort of content differentiation strategies and distribution strategies that are helping boost this adoption. And in the other side we have the travel sellers that are facing some challenges, especially with post-ticketing, with technology investments, etc. And there's where the role of intermediaries is vital for that transformation, where we enable that connection to happen and make it easier for them to really get the content and enable that they can consume the content from us.
I was at an airline conference earlier this year, and they were talking a lot more about offer and order, and also service and delivery, and delivery seemed to be the area that kind of that sort of stumped them, because they all had a different concept of what delivery might look like. So I wonder if that's something that you've experienced.
Well, absolutely. So in my career, I've worked with airlines and airline alliances on NDC strategy and how it can be leveraged to achieve their revenue growth efforts. And one of the challenges was specifically in the delivery area of revenue accounting, and how does the order get tracked as to whether or not it actually was fulfilled. Did something happen in terms of a disruption?
Exactly.
And then it gets even more tricky within the context of an alliance, where if you have a multi-carrier itinerary, and yet the order was ticketed or issued under one plating carrier, how do you then track it through to see that the order item was indeed fulfilled by all of the airlines in that order?
Yeah. So do you think, from what Kurt Eckert of Sabre was saying yesterday on stage, that we are a long way off offer and order, let alone kind of service and delivery. Would you agree with that, Jesus?
Yeah, I think that offer and order transformation is not just changing the model, but it's like a whole new paradigm. So that means richer content. That means customization, personalization. That means large amounts of data that is going to flow and be captured to travel sellers. And so there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead, like post-servicing, how we manage the data, how we service that data, how we transform all these changes into real value to the customers. And we're still in early stages, and there's still a lot, a long journey to go, and we will see a lot of changes along the way. And I hope that we will find an answer to all of these questions.
I don't know if either of you were at World Aviation Festival in October, but there was a lot of talk about data and airline data readiness. And there's, once again, same as with the NDC schemas and readiness for that side of things, data readiness and de-siloing was also, airlines were polar apart on that. So, does it matter that all airlines are moving at different speeds, do you think?
Not at all. I think each airline has actually its own technology architecture. I think from a data perspective, the key thing to be looking at right now is your customer data platform. Customer centricity is real, and the data architecture of what we're trying to achieve and the move to offer an order should be about how are you keeping track of the shopping and booking behavior of customers on your airline as well as within your ecosystem. The core data key of what we do should not be a reservation, rather it should be the passenger.
Yeah, yeah. How far away do you think we are from that?
There are some airlines that actually have made quite a bit of progress with CDP. Even within the LCC space. So the work I was doing at Navitaire was very impressed with some of the low-cost carriers, and their adoption of CDP is really the core pillar, and they're building everything around it.
Are you seeing that with the new platform at Pkfare?
Uh,
I mean, it might be early days for you.
Yeah, I think that again, we are just at the beginning of all the transformation, and data is going to be at the backbone of everything. We, not only us, but airlines and everyone in the industry, we're still figuring out how we are going to manage all that. I was in a good panel actually just the day before yesterday, and they were setting most of the reports saying that not even 10 to 15% of the overall data that airlines or travel sellers or intermediaries is being used right now, and it's really being catered to transform into real value to the passenger. I think that some of the challenge ahead for that is how are we going to utilize that, and AI, LLMs, all that is going to play a major role into that, and especially tech companies like ours that at the end of the day, I mean, we are wholesalers or aggregators, but we are also a tech company. So we are going to help that data, to be curated, to be sanitized, and to really be transformative for the passenger.
Yeah, that's a good... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add, I think also in the subject of data, one of the challenges that airlines have is harvesting all of the data from their PSS. That can be a bit of a challenge because the PSS is just one of many systems within the airline's overall environment. And so that's another area where airlines are working, is to be able to subscribe to change management of their own data.
Yeah.
And also how all these different models are going to coexist together, offer and orders, NDC, all PSS, GDS. So there's going to be this transformation. It's not going to happen in one day. So it's going to take years. So all that is going to coexist. Airlines that are less prepared, airlines more prepared, IT players, tech companies. So it's going to be really challenging.
A journey. Yeah. Jesus, interesting that you just mentioned AI and the LLMs. Where are you actually seeing AI come into the whole kind of NDC airline retailing space so far? Where are you seeing some impact?
I think that it's going to be everywhere, from operational, fraud management, payments, retailing capabilities, ancillaries, everywhere. But one of the biggest changes and transformational changes that I foresee maybe already next year and for years ahead is how are we going to adapt to these new AI search engines and all the data? How is that going to read from the data sets from the airline? How are travel sellers prepared for that? What is the role of the travel sellers in that ecosystem if the search engines are going to read directly from the airline? And also, what is the role of the intermediaries and how we are going to adapt to that? So we need to be prepared to manage all those new business data models, and I think the tech companies, specifically in wholesalers, that we are in a good position to do that and to help into that preparation to the airlines and travel sellers, etc.
Just wanted to ask you the same question before we move on about to what extent you're already seeing AI make an impact on the whole kind of NDC airline retailing space.
Sure. So, LLM and natural language processing is already proving itself quite powerful in being able to take unstructured data and then convert it into business processes. So at Mystifly, we use natural language processing in order to be able to understand, deeply the fare rules in all different kinds of servicing, post-ticketing situations, so that we can then automate that on the behalf of our travel agency clients. So that way the agent can complete a servicing task in a minute, as opposed to being stuck on the phone for 15 minutes. That's huge. But then I think we've talked about personalization for years.
Now we're talking about hyper-personalization.
And it is, AI that's going to, I think, finally make personalization real.
Yes.
AI is also bringing its challenges. You alluded just there, Jesus, to the sort of scale of, the look-to-book-to ratio.
Yeah.
That's already a challenge, I understand, with NDC. At least that's what both of the GDS CEOs said in their Q3 earnings. How are we going to not repeat that mistake with AI?
I think that the AI is going to be like the solution, not the challenge itself. So at least, for example, in Pkfare, we are using it to curate the data and to establish cache capabilities to really help us with the look to book. We need to be sure that we are able to manage all those large amounts of data, and we transform into something that has a narrative for the AI engines, etc. So I think that right now we are more prepared than we were years ago, because actually we have the most powerful tool that we can have, and it's going to help us and give us the solution, and that's LLMs, AI, however you want to call it, and definitely is going to give us a leapfrog in that and allow personalization or hyper personalization, as you just mentioned.
Do you think, Jeremy, airlines are sort of aware of what's coming at them in terms of the scale of hits on the system?
Oh yeah, the airlines for sure are seeing it. I think it's going to take a village in order to solve this. This is not something that one company alone can solve.
For sure.
And we need to learn from the mega caches that have been built over the years. From Google's QP or ITA's QPX. To 3 Victors, to today utilizing signals from an ecosystem perspective to be able to predict what is happening with fares, what is happening with availability, so that then you can minimize the hits to the live system.
Take a village is an interesting analogy, isn't it, in this industry, because we're often not great at collaboration.
Yeah, but I think in order to deliver on this opportunity that AI creates, it's going to have to happen. And so I actually do see that. I see companies that are perhaps competitors, but are coming closer together in order to kind of achieve what is the art of the possible with AI. And so I think that that's a huge trend for the airline distribution landscape in 2026. Is you're going to see companies that you would not have thought would collaborate entering into some pretty interesting partnerships.
That was actually my next question: is what will we see in 2026? Okay, so companies that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be bedfellows partnering. Okay, love to see it. Jesus, what would you think might happen with airline distribution in 2026?
Along with that, new players entering into the industry, because this is like a complete new model paradigm. So we will have the OpenAIs, Googles, whoever is going to be into the AI. They are going to try to disrupt the travel industry. And as you said, some of the existing companies, they will come together to face those challenges. But there's going to be like a lot of pending questions. So how is this going to unfold? Who is going to be the dominant player? How are going to face this innovation in AI? Is going to travel sellers going to still be there in 10 years? What is the role of that? What is the role of the airlines? So I think that is, for me, the most challenging time for the travel industry forever, I think, because there's a lot of chances that it could be easily disrupt for someone new getting into the market and doing something different, because now technology is there. So
yeah, do you think that's lowered the barriers to entry?
It's actually not low barriers to entry, because whoever is going to enter, they will have like deep pockets, high technology So they just going to see like a trouble market, travel industry to something that they can easily disrupt, just because that's the case, that they have deep pockets, high technology investment, so they can do it.
I mean, in theory, they could get further quicker, because if they use the models in the right way, and then at that point, well, then that's probably where the deep pockets might come in, right?
I think what you're going to see with AI is that the interest in really granular bits of information and detail is, what's going to be the nature of the game. And so that's going to involve exposing, the products and services and even, brand promises of the airlines, in a much richer, structured way that, not even, the travel tech giants have quite nailed just yet. And so I think that's the other big trend of 2026 is how do you expose the product and brand identity of an airline, in a way that an LLM is going to be able to appreciate, what is the story of what this airline is offering.
Which is what, frankly, airlines have been trying to get at for the past 10 years with NDC, is the differentiation side of it. So it's kind of watch this space, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us in the studio.
Thank you so much, Linda.